It's a Friday, obviously. And I know I've got people in the audience from all walks of life. I've got business owners. I've got people who work from home. I got people who are unemployed. I got people who drive trucks. I've got people who represent every possible walk of life in my audience. I understand that. But some people will relate to what I'm about to tell you, and some people are going to go, huh, really? I didn't know that happened. And so I have an office. I actually have a business. I've got a website, and on the website, I've got my name and what I do and my phone number, and I have to have that there because otherwise people couldn't call me. And the bulk of the people who contact me for legal help that I wind up helping do contact me via telephone. And so the interesting thing is that I have a phone, and unfortunately, and everybody I know who's got a business phone is going to immediately go, I know exactly what you're about to say. It's the sales calls you get on your phone. People will call you, try to sell you stuff. Anything from copiers to cleaning services to you name it. And one of the problems that I've encountered, and this has been going on for a couple months now, is there is a business out there, I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to give them free advertising, but they claim that they can help lawyers find clients, okay? And I looked them up after being annoyed by this for a little while because every single day I come into my office and I got the light blinking and I go, oh, they called again. And yeah, they called. And the phone number shows them as being in Syracuse, New York. That's the actual area code of the phone number. And the weird part is that if you look the business up, it's actually in Nevada. And I'm going to play you the message I got this morning. I'm going to play it for you and let you hear it. So I'm not sure I'll put something up on the screen to entertain your eyes while this plays.
I am looking for attorneys who can take on new clients. Organizationally, work with legal, and we just have more cases than what we can handle. Perhaps if you could get back to me or maybe forward my information off to any colleagues that might be welcoming new cases, I'd appreciate it. My number's 2140. Take care.
But the interesting thing about this is they call every single day, leave this message, and when I call that number back, there's no answer. It literally doesn't answer. And if I call the caller ID number back, it comes back as this number is unavailable. And if you Google the phone number, it's an oil change place in another state. And they're not identifying themselves as an oil change place. They're identifying themselves as somebody who can help attorneys find clients. So I don't quite know what the problem is. And I'll admit, I've not been comparing the phone numbers from day to day. I'm not sure they're using the same phone numbers. But apparently they need to get you on the phone live, but they don't want to actually speak to you on the phone if you call them, which throws up all kinds of flags for me. But the other thing, of course, is if you're running a successful business, providing a great service for people, trust me, there's enough hungry attorneys out there who would love the service of somebody who could get them clients, assuming that it wasn't ridiculously expensive, because there's a cost-benefit analysis that any business person is going to put into anything. And so when there's a business out there saying we've got this thriving business where we get lawyers and clients and we get them together, and yet they've got people who are literally calling lawyers every single day over and over and over again saying, we need to speak to you because we can get you clients. We can get you clients. Or if you don't need clients, tell us who does. It reeks of desperation. And because they often call in off hours, I'm not there to answer the phone. And when I call them back, I get no answer. So there you go. I do want to mention a couple other things that have happened recently because we haven't quite hit the point where I say, oh my gosh, where did the time go? Where does it go? We don't know. I mentioned the other day about hanging T-shirts inside out. And I mentioned that as part of the video where I walked around and showed you a behind-the-scenes view of my studio. And I mentioned that I hang my T-shirts inside out because primarily to keep them from getting hanger marks in the shoulders. And I learned that years and years and years ago because I have always worn T-shirts, and I've had T-shirts I really liked, and I would wear them a lot. But the ones I don't wear, I would hang, because if you fold them and stick them in a drawer, they often get wrinkled looking. And so I would take my shirts and hang them on hangers. And I discovered that you often get the little shoulder bumps there, but if you hang them inside out, those go away. So it was just a simple little solution that I had come up with years ago, and I have been doing it ever since. But also, as several people pointed out, you should wash your shirts inside out, which is also what I do. I'd forgotten to mention that during the video. So people mail me shirts. I got 3 yesterday. I'll turn them inside out, take the tags off of them, and wash them, hang them inside out, and then I'll wear them, and then I'll rotate them to the other end of the rack, and they'll work their way through. I had a guy actually go, "That's stupid. You're stupid to do that." Now, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. But I explained one of the 2 reasons why I do that, and it actually works. So to say it's stupid to do it means that it's smarter to wear the shirt with the bumps in the shoulders than to not. And by the way, before you say, "Well, Steve, what if there's no difference?" You understand that to take a shirt off and turn it inside out does not take any more effort than taking it off the normal way. It just depends on how you grab it or where you grab it. So it's not like I'm spending extra energy hanging my shirts inside out. And second of all, it actually accomplishes something. And I assure you, if I wore shirts that had bumps in the shoulders right here, I'd have people going, "Steve, you need to iron your shirts." Well, instead of ironing them, I can hang them inside out. And I don't know what compels someone to log on the internet, watch a video, and go, "I'm going to call this guy stupid for doing something that makes sense." And then I got to let you know that I occasionally talk about language. I've mentioned I've got a lot of dictionaries here. Thanks, Kevin and company. And I got a lot of dictionaries elsewhere. And I'm fascinated by the language. I took linguistics in college. My mother studied linguistics also. And I'm fascinated by the concept of language and language usage. So there you go. And unfortunately, when I say those things, some people take that to mean that, oh, Steve is now saying he's an expert on language. Therefore, anytime he makes a mistake, we will call it out. I got the nastiest message the other day from somebody who said, "Steve, in this video," and they named the video, "at the 3-minute and 16-second mark, you said, 'That's a whole nother problem.'" Whole nother. And the guy capitalized it and put it in quotes and said, "You said whole nother problem. Are you serious? What's wrong?" And he just goes off on this tirade about how inappropriate it is for me to say that's a whole nother problem. First of all, it was a whole nother problem. But I've also said that ship has left the barn. That horse has sailed. You're barking up the wrong neck of the woods. That ain't going to happen. Obviously, I occasionally say things that are lighthearted in an attempt to, I don't know, make my verbal accompaniment of the video a little bit more entertaining. So if I sat here and spoke the King's English perfectly and never used any slang or jokes or anything like that, I think it would be less interesting to watch. And so I'm going to continue saying things like, "That's a whole nother problem." And if it bothers you so much that you look up my work email address and email me at work, I've got a better use for your time. Anything but my videos. Just stop watching my videos. If my use of the language bothers you that much, stop watching my videos. I don't care. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to change my entire presentation because one guy doesn't like me using the phrase "whole nother problem." To me, is mind-boggling. It really is. So on that note, I'm going to let you know, I'm going to continue using whatever phrases I use. And by the way, what's fascinating to me is occasionally I can throw in a song reference that's obscure, long ago and oh so far away. And I will just move on. And many people won't catch it, but they won't stumble over it either because I'll fit it in conversationally. And I'll say somebody blew a 0.0 and move on. And right now, I assure you that someone's typing in, Steve, you just mentioned Superstar by the Carpenters. And Leon Russell, of course. And yes, I did. And Luther Vandross, by the way, did a great version as well. Although the original version didn't have the O, just long ago and far away. And the long ago and oh, so far away makes it so much better. But 0.0 is from Animal House. The dean was lecturing them about their grade point averages. So, whole nother is just something. I don't know if I got it from the Beverly Hillbillies or Green Acres. I don't know. I just remember hearing that somewhere a long, long time ago. And it's slang, and it's probably less common slang. But to me, that's what makes it funny. If it's not funny to you, I'm sorry. And the crazy part is that there's always somebody out there. I've got 400 and some odd thousand subscribers on YouTube right now. And many of my videos, 5 or 6 a week, get over 100,000 views in the first week. And that's a lot of people watching the videos. And so when I open up my email or my messages or whatever it might be, and I get a note from somebody who goes, Steve, you misused that word. I'm sorry, but I ain't changing because of one complaint. And I was discussing this with somebody the other day, and they said, Steve, why would somebody think you cared? They don't think I care. They simply think they caught me. Like we caught you because you think you're such a language guru. We caught you making a mistake. No, I said it on purpose. I mean, I'm not a ventriloquist dummy that somebody else is controlling. I said the words on purpose because I thought they fit. And the one thing I will tell you, this is a conscious effort on my part. One of the reasons I wear t-shirts. If you go back and look at the early days of my videos, you will see videos where I'm wearing a dress shirt. That is a shirt with a button-down collar and no tie, but I'm wearing a dress shirt. I used to actually put on shirts that looked dressy because I thought that's what attorneys should do. I thought I was going casual by not wearing a tie. And occasionally, as a joke, I've worn a jacket and a tie on camera because I had one on or whatever. But I actually thought years ago that if you're going to be a lawyer on YouTube talking about legal issues, you probably want to do it in a way that doesn't seem terribly lawyerly. Now, I've seen lawyers on YouTube who are all over the spectrum. I know some who are very, very specific over here, talking about all the different ramifications, and let's go through this point by point, blah, 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 et sec, which I use from time to time because I think it's funny. And I've seen people over at my end who are just trying to speak in plain English and trying to dress in a way that's not scary. And, I've had people, when they hear I'm a lawyer, they go, oh, you're a lawyer. And I can see them recoil because they have this immediate knee-jerk response like, oh, lawyers are scary, lawyers are dangerous. And so I don't want people to be scared of me or to think I'm dangerous in that sense. And I also want to make it to where what I'm talking about is more approachable. And so I am convinced that by using the language mixture that I use, which is my own special blend, I'm convinced that it makes my message more palatable to the non-lawyers in the audience, the civilians. That's a trigger word, by the way. I've mentioned before that obviously if you're related militarily to something, references to civilians are the non-military. And I've talked before about police and civilians. And I've had people go, Steve, police are civilians. It depends on the context. Because sometimes civilians can be non-police in the context of police. And I've had so many people push back on that one. And again, don't push back at me. Go look it up. You'll see I'm right. And I've jokingly told people that, well, lawyers understand this, but civilians don't, referring to non-lawyers. Now, that's a less common usage. But I think that once in a while you can use less common usage to make a point. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And the funniest part of all is, I didn't write back to the guy freaking out about whole nother. But I generally want to ask these people, did you understand my point? Did you get my point? Because number one, if you got my point, then why succeeded? Now, it's true that if you got my point, but it's so upset you that you missed everything I said after that, I guess that would be a failure on my part. A failure to communicate. But I don't think that it was a problem for anybody else but you. So there you go. Like I said, where does the time go? And yes, I'm pointing at an iPad with a clock on it, which indicates I've been talking for about 16 minutes now. So I will end now and talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.